So we're gonna make this video quick and short and sweet, but you see little Jack's head pop. Jack! What are you doing? You trying to say hi? Are you trying to say hello? Can you see yourself right there? Okay, so anyways, so my best friend asked for a brow tutorial, and I'm getting ready for work, and I have like a bunch of other things I have to run around and go do. So we're gonna make this video short, sweet, but informative and to the point. So hopefully I can help some of you ladies out there that are having brow troubles, because I see you and I want to help you. So let's go ahead and get into it. So I laid out like my essentials, and so basically like essentials for brushes is the Benefit Brow Brush. Looks like this. I don't know if you guys can see, my lighting is terrible. Sorry. But it comes with this really great spoolie, and then this is like a very fine brush, so it like is really precise. And then I just use like an old brush from my Naked palette. I feel like the older ones are better because the newer ones are too fluffy. Where's the new Naked one at? I don't think I have it over here. Oh yeah, I do. No, I don't. Yes, I do. Okay, so this is like their newer brush out of their palette, so you can see like both sides are very like fluffy. This one's like more of like a blender, and then this one's more of like kind of like a pencil because it comes like to a point. So this is great for other things, but I feel like their older one that you would find in like the Naked Original or the Naked 2 palette is really good for cleaning up your brows, because this brush is very like fine, like pointy and flat, and then this one's kind of fluffy, so it allows me to blend it out. So I'll show you guys how I use this, but I like this one too. So if you have a Naked palette, like the Naked Original or the Naked number 2, grab this brush for your concealer. So the concealer that I use to clean up my brows is the Boeing Airbrush Concealer by Benefit. I got this in gratis when I worked for Benefit, and I love it for cleaning up my brows. I don't necessarily, like, I like it for cleaning up my brows or concealing like blemishes, but like if I was to do like my under eyes, or like basically to like contour with, I use the Shape Tape by Tarte, just because the formulation in it is like smoother versus this is like very thick. I like that it's very thick because I can like precisely clean up my brows, basically. So the brow products that I use to like fill in my brows differ just like between what I grab. So I was diehard for the Anastasia Dip Brow and Taupe forever, but I feel like it dries out really bad, and when I use like vitamin E oil, like just even like a half of a drop in there to like kind of like loosen it up a little bit, it gets very runny, and then I have a lot of cleanup to do on my brows. So I was kind of like, I couldn't find anything better than this, so I was just kind of like, it is what it is. But then I started working at Benefit, and I got this in gratis, which is their Kaboom, or Kabrow, sorry. And it's kind of cool. So it looks like this, and you can pull that off and go like that, and you have a brush with a handle, and the top comes off, and then it's got the product on the inside. Now, what I will say is, I don't work for Benefit anymore, so I will say what I want to say, is this is very, like, chalky. Like, you can kind of see, like, the inside. Like, it's just very, it's drying, just like the Anastasia is. And a lot of people are like, oh, I like Kabrow better because it's not as drying. And I'm like, when I worked there, I was like, yeah, totally. Y'all, I was trying to sell some makeup and make some money. Sorry, don't hate me. But now I can speak my truth and say that this shit is drying just as much as Anastasia. And I want to say in price, they're comparable. Like, this is $24. I want to say this is like $24. So, I don't know. But I will say, in color-wise, these are supposed to be comparable in color, and they're not. The taupe is super, super dark. So, they're not comparable in color. So, color-wise, I go for Kabrow. Product-wise, I go for Anastasia. So, yeah. We're going to play with both today. And then, before I do anything to my brows, I actually use the Bravo Conditioning Primer by Benefit. And when I was in school, I was like, they teach us, like, once you lose hair, like, there's no coming back. Like, once you lose hair, you basically have to get a hair transplant. Like, there's no primer, there's no conditioner, there's no leave-in shampoo, nothing that is going to make your fucking hair grow back. Except for this shit. Like, this stuff, I'm not even kidding you guys. Like, I'm between services right now, and I am going to have to conceal down here because I have so much hairs down there because I use this every single day. Like, this stuff is amazing. So if you have, like, basically my problem is that this is, like, my killer brow. Like, this is my brow, like, bitch. This is my brow, like, I smoke weed every day, we're just chilling. Like, this brow hates life. So basically what happened was when I was a teenager, the 90s were popping, and I overplucked my brows, and I had 90s brows, which means I had, like, very thin brows. So right about here, it doesn't grow anymore. Or it does grow, and it grows all, like, wonky and crazy. So I use this just right here to fill in my brows, because I have pretty thick brows everywhere else. So what ends up happening is because it's a gel, I get crazy hairs, like, down in here, which is fine, but it makes it look like I'm in between services when I'm not really in between services. And then I use my Julep. You guys can get any, this is just what I have, but it's a brow setting gel. They have one at Benefit. Anastasia has one. Every brand has one. So just get whatever you can get. It's just a brow gel. It's not whatever. So, okay, so that's the products I'm using. Basically what you're looking at is if you're going to go with one of these, you're looking at $24, $24, $24. You can get a mini of these for, I believe, $10. So what's that? 24, that's, do your math, Tiff. That's like $50. Plus another 24, that's $74. So you're looking at roughly $100. If you go to Ulta and you have 100 points, you get $3 off. You're welcome. Yes, I work for Ulta. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into it. So basically the first step I'm going to show you guys is, well, first thing I do every single time is I use this brow gel. And you just kind of twist it and you get a little gel that comes up. And I just put it like right here. And this stuff does work, you guys. Like, it's crazy amazing. Okay, and then I'm going to go in with my product. And so basically I'm going to line my brows with the Anastasia. And I'm going to show you guys how to line your brows. And this is like the part where people have the most trouble. So your brows, let me see if I have a brow. What is this? This is by Lancome. So we're just going to use this just for shits and giggles. So basically your brows should start where your nose dimples, typically where somebody would have a nose piercing, right where my brows start. You see that? I'm not going to line my brows. I was going to do that, but I'm not. Okay? So then your brows, when I was in school, they taught us that your brow should start from the corner of your nose through your pupil to the end of your eye. The problem with that is if I start where my nose does that, look how I'm already losing a chunk of hair out of my brows on either side. Like, that's going to put my brows kind of far apart. And if you line it up to my eyes, like, you want them to, like, halo your eyes, basically. Now, if I'm going from here, I'm already cutting off so much of my brows, right? So you don't want to do that. That's one thing that Benefit employees are taught. Like, if you're going to go anywhere to get your brows done, stop threading. That's horrible. And I'll explain that in a minute. Stop tweezing at home. I mean, tweezing at home is not bad, but you're not a professional. You don't really know what you're doing. You can learn a little bit from me as far as, like, tweezing, but I would go to Benefit a couple of times, get a good shape in, have them kind of teach you what you need to do, and then if you can go home and do it yourself, then go home and do it yourself. But you're going to mess up your shape, and then you're going to end up with 90s brows. That's what happened to me. So from the corner, so basically where somebody would have a nose piercing, up, and then from the corner of your nose, right through your pupil, should be where your brows arch. And then from the corner of your nose to the corner of your eye is where your brow should end. Now, this is all preference, okay? Some people like to have really long, extended brows. That's on you, boo-boo. If you want long, extended brows, do you. But that's typically where they should end. So, if I teach you anything today, your brows start where your nose dimples, They arch through your pupils, from the corner of your nose through your pupils, and from the corner of your nose to the corner of your eyes and up. Okay, so we've got a little bit of product on here, so let's go ahead and go in and start filling in our brows. You're going to create your little line right here at the bottom of your brow. And I want to show you guys something. If you look really close right here, you can see that I'm going off. I'm not following naturally where my hairs are because I need growth right in there, which is really, I probably should be putting that brow bow there. Because you want to have a diagonal straight line from here to your arch. So what I always tell my clients is draw a straight line from that beginning part up until you go into your hair. Once you go into your hair, you know you've hit your arch. So then I take that and I'm going to create the bottom line from here down. Okay? So if you're messy, that's fine. That's why we have concealer. And I feel like a lot of people don't use that. Like they just kind of like throw on brows and then they're these like wicked mess. Okay, so then next, hopefully we have enough product left. We're going to draw the top line. And basically what I do is if you take this spoolie and you spoolie up, you can see that you naturally have hairs that grow up and then you have hairs that start to grow this way. When your hairs start to grow this way, that's where I start to create my line. So I don't create my line way over here, I create it back here. And it's a short little line because you're just going up into that arch. Do you see Jackson's eyeballs? You're a creep. And then we do the same thing that we did on the bottom. We just bring this down and create the tail. Okay? So the reason that I started way back here is that you don't want to have a boxy brow that makes it look really unnatural. So what I do is I just take my brush straight on and I do hair-like strokes right here in the front. And right here I can see on the very, very bottom, I can see that I need a little bit of fill. Like you can see right here, we can see my skin. So that's where I'm going to go back and forth very, very lightly and just kind of fill that in. Okay. I'm going to get a little bit more product. And continue to just fill in right there. And remember, you could be messy with this, especially if you're a newbie. Go ahead and be messy because you have concealer. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and stop right there. And typically I would go ahead and just continue to use Anastasia. If that's what you have, that's what you have. But I'm going to use the Benefit just to kind of show you guys the difference. Okay, so then right here, I always want to keep it the most natural looking brow as I possibly can. I mean, you're drawing on something, it's not natural. So I want to make it look as natural as possible. So I'm going to go in the direction that my hairs grow. So right here, my hairs start to grow down from the top. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. And I'm just, throughout my brow, I'm just following the natural rhythm of my hair. Okay, so that's basically my brow. We're going to kind of use the spoolie, blend everything out, make it look all nice. Okay, then we're going to go in with our concealer. So it looks like this. And I just kind of go in right with my brush. Get just a little bit on the brush. And we're going to go right under the line that we created. Okay, so you want to line underneath that line in case there's anywhere that you messed up that was like squiggly or was too much, just to kind of clean up that line. I do it on the top too, but I don't do it right here because you created those hair-like strokes. You want it to look as natural as possible. So I just do it around everywhere else. So you're kind of left with, like, you can see where the concealer is. Don't swipe your brush. You can even use your finger. You can go like this with your brush. You can use Morphe has a great sponge. I believe it's $7. Some Ultas do sell sponges, so you can get them there, but you can just kind of like, it has this like flat line that you can get like right underneath it and go right around it like that. But basically, you end up with this. So you can go also in with like a really good highlighter. I like the Jaclyn Hill palette. She's got her very first shadow right here is a really great highlighter, especially for your brows. And the inner corner. Okay, so last but not least is you go ahead and use your gel brow setter. This will just set all those little hairs in place. I tend to have really long brow hairs, so this will just lay them down flat so they won't go anywhere. Okay, so that's pretty much it. So I'll be right back. You guys can see the other brow, but I'm gonna do that off camera.